Well, hello everyone. It's the 2024 Prevagen U.S. Figure Skating Championships. I am Jackie Wong, and I am here doing something very, very new. We are actually commentating on practice sessions here at Nationals. I'm joined by my special guest, Polina Edmunds, today for this women's practice, and we start off with the first six skaters here. Polina Edmunds, you all know her. Olympian, two-time national medalist, podcaster, everything under the sun. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. Another U.S. Nationals.
I know. It's a 10-year anniversary for both of us in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Yours is much more interesting than mine is. What is your 10-year anniversary?
10 years ago, Boston, 2014. My first senior nationals, first time on the podium, my Olympic berth. Crazy.
10 years ago, Boston, my first nationals in person. I did not make it to the Olympics. I did not win a medal, but I had a great time.
Anniversaries for both of us.
Yeah, anniversaries. Now, there's just so much going on right now. We're in second day of senior practice right now, and the women are on the ice. And what was interesting about this too, we were talking about it before we came on air. The junior dance was on right before this, and there was actually no ice cut right before this group, and so there will be an ice cut right after this group. There are a lot of, practice scheduling is pretty crazy at a nationals when you've got so many events going on. But we see the six folks here who are on the ice, going from Lindsay to Star to Elise. There's a lot of skaters in the next three groups that we're going to see who are going to be really interesting to watch. So, Polina, what do you usually think about when you're sort of like a day before competition and you're just trying to get a feel of the ice and so forth?
I think the day before you're really just trying to get under your feet. You want to feel comfortable on the ice, but you also don't want to go too hard necessarily because you're saving that adrenaline push under that stress for the final show, for the actual competition. So I think, again, everyone's different, of course, but for the practices, I think we're just going to see everybody try to prep the best way they can without burning out all of that adrenaline.
Yeah. I think there's, we've got a lot of skating fans probably watching this and people who might know quite a bit already about figure skating. And so what we would love to do is get you some of the behind the scenes of just like what happens during practice sessions, right? Like you see all these skaters sort of like skating around, doing this or that, things that you're maybe not used to seeing in programs and so forth. And we'll talk about some of that. And as always, you can send some messages to us on X, on Instagram, on whatever. I'm at Rocker Skating. Paulina's at Polina Edmunds. Send us some stuff. Ask us, what exactly was this person just doing? Like, where why
didn't she do her jumps in her program?
Exactly.
Why'd she mark them?
Yeah, exactly. What is marking?
Marking is not actually doing set triple. It's either doing a single or just a walkthrough when the music's on specifically, which I know a lot of people get confused about.
That's basically me. I marked all my jumps.
Me too. Always in practice.
I did them. I marked them in competition.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's gonna be really interesting. We've got Ren on the screen right now doing a little bit of just. I think just kind of going through her program and setting up for a marked axle.
Oh,
or not marked
marked
axle.
She went for it.
There you go. And what we'll also do here while we're here is, and you'll see the practice schedule that's on the screen right now. So we've got women's practice going on right now. We'll have pairs practice on Tim Gable, Olympic medalist, with me at actually one of the later groups at the 5:30 pairs practice. So we'll get some of his take on all things nationals.
Skaters, there's approximately 1 minute remaining in your warm-up.
I think what's interesting to me, right, is in the practice session environment, they tend to kind of try to replicate a competition environment, right? You have a 6-minute warm up. You go in some kind of order, right? You have to, if you're skating later on, you got to wait for other skaters to finish and so forth. I think that's an interesting way of thinking about these practices, and also like how you go about it. And we were talking about this earlier too. The women have 2 practices going on today. One here on the practice ice, which is literally right across the way from the main rink, and then one later tonight. And actually, the later groups actually don't finish until 11 p.m. So, Polina, we were talking about this. How would you be thinking about that?
I think there's really 2 options here. If you're skating on the first session, I think time zones, maybe a Pacific Coast skater might be able to go harder on the second practice. East Coast skaters are probably going to go harder on the first practice, just because time-wise, if you're skating around 10 p.m., you might want to take it easier. But I think we're going to see skaters taking one of the practices today really hard and going for all of their jumps and skating their programs, and then the other one will be a lot more marking, just kind of getting their feet under them and getting comfortable for tomorrow.
Yeah, it really depends on how you want to train. We will go to the current skater skating in just a little bit. Just kind of trying to figure out what is going on here, but
I believe this is
Lindsay Thorngren.
She's
That's
not
why.
on the ice right now.
That's why.
So she seems to have opted out of this practice, and we'll probably only be seeing her in this evening's practice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lindsay wasn't here yesterday either, so we'll see where it goes. I wonder if there was anything, because I think she had an ankle sprain at NHK Trophy, and so maybe it's just kind of like taking it easy on her body before actual competition time. So we'll see if we see her tonight.
Mm-hmm. She's close by too, training in New Jersey, so it shouldn't be too much of a flight for her.
Yep.
If she may be even coming in right now.
That's an interesting thing I wanted to ask you about too. Is there's some skaters we've seen even at like big competitions, if they're close, they'll literally just train in their own home ice, which generally, you'll get more practice time. How do you think about that? And I think that's a skater to skater sort of decision to make.
I think it really depends on how the skater handles their adrenaline. Because I think if you're trying to keep the stress low in terms of even a practice, when you come and you're skating with all of the skaters that you haven't seen all year, all the coaches, the media is there, you feel that pressure to perform even in practice. So I think holding off as long as possible if you want to peak adrenaline-wise for the competition. I was definitely one of those skaters who would only want to come the day before and not, 3 days before to acclimate or whatever. I think each skater just has to listen to how well they handle that performance aspect. So I think that's what we're seeing with some missing skaters here.
Yeah, I was never good at practice. I'm always in awe of all of these skaters. So it looks like we've got 5 skaters here. So everybody's here except for Lindsay. Mm-hmm. And there's folks who are getting ready right now. For those of you who don't know, Sonia Hilmer is a lefty-righty skater, and you're going to see some very interesting stuff from her. But we're going to start. We're going to start with the program. Polina, she's something of kind of the first skater here to do her run through. There are a lot of skaters that, depending on how you warm up, would do a full run through as an early skater in the session versus not. How do you think about that?
I think regardless of even where in the slot of you getting your music on in the practice, it really just depends on if the skater feels like they need to get the jitters out with the jumps with the music on before competing or not. Some skaters will just mark their jumps and do walkthroughs or signals even with the music on because they don't want to peak in practice. They want to save it for the actual competition. But they'll do it outside of the program.
I think someone like a Ren has always been kind of, these are interesting sort of cases of folks who are not necessarily
The next skater is
in the
star
mix for the
Edmunds,
podium,
skating
but
number
also Similar to last year, where I felt like she came in with more spring, more pop in her jumps than what we've seen during the season. I think that bodes well for her. I think it's looking like maybe just a little bit of stamina at the very
Sonia
end.
Hilmer, skating her long
But things are looking good for her.
Followed by Soho Lee.
Yeah, I think with that extra adrenaline push, we're going to see a little bit more electricity from her in the actual performance.
Sonia Hilmer. Something of a cult favorite for the fans. A lot because she can do spins in both directions.
Very unique.
She does a triple sow, double sow, and if you're wondering how that works, it literally is a triple sow in one direction and then a power pull into a double sow in the other direction. I can barely do a double sow in my direction, so that's just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
I think I can do a waltz jump in the other direction, and that about cuts it.
I'll point out that triple sow, double sow a bit. She does it at the very end of her program here, and I'm not sure if she warmed it up yet, but we'll see. The thing I appreciate about Sonia so much is just the general look and feel of her programs are just so different, right? Like it's so individual to her and her own character that there's your ambidextrous spinning right there.
Outside edge, very difficult.
It doesn't compute physically, mentally to me.
I know what you mean, though. She's very polished in her movement, and it's so impressive to see the strength multi-directionally. Because most people are only good at one side.
Yeah.
Sonia was 3rd at Midwestern Sectionals, earning her spot here at Nationals. 10th last year, looking to build off of that.
She's definitely going through all her jumps, so no marking here.
Nope.
All right, after this is going to be the sow.
I think we're going to see a lot of free skates today because it's kind of that one opportunity for all of the skaters to get a free skate in before their actual free skates on Friday, since their short program is tomorrow.
Triple sow. Oh. There you go. Triple sow, double sow.
Don't see that every day.
I mean, the fact that she was able to power through that, even though she didn't land the triple well, again, does not compute.
That's the mental tenacity.
Polina, as you watch these women's free skates, how have they changed since you were skating back 10 years ago?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think so much has changed, especially in regards to the rules with just transitions into, spins, the levels, everything. So I think we're seeing a lot more differences in positions, and some of them are really cool. And some of them sometimes make me raise my eyebrows, but it's a lot more technical now, I feel. I think the point system has really leaned into trying to maximize as much as you can. So it's always nice to see skaters that really still lean into the whole package in terms of artistry. because that's kind of that old school skating feeling that we love. And I think when I think about 10 years ago, it's still those moments, those skates that make me feel something in a step sequence or at the start or the end of the program that make that lasting impression.
They're going to tell me that I got a beautiful haircut, but beautiful haircutters.
The next skater
It's always when
is
you see
Elise
those old school
Graham,
skating positions,
skating her long
whether it's a
cover.
spin or a spiral, or makes you stop and say, wow.
Yeah. All right, Elise Lynn Gracie. This is a name that people have probably started hearing about this season, and she's been one of those who have been somewhat under the radar, but also not. And you know, this Lutz toe is why she could be a dark horse.
Outstanding. She has very solid technique. She's one of the few skaters in this generation that kind of enter her Lutz completely steady. There's no wiggle or anything before. Very old school classic technique, and it is so beautiful to watch when she hits.
There's a bit of, I was talking to Adam Rapon about this yesterday, there's a bit of Karen Shen to her Lutz toe. That same, like, you know, obviously the edge is very deep, and then the in between the Lutz and the toe, she really takes her time to make sure that she's checked and set up before she launches into the toe. There's some skaters where you'll literally just see, like, they land and all of a sudden the pick is in, and you don't take the time to sort of breathe, and it's really dependent on everybody's own timing.
Absolutely. Timing is everything. This is also Elise's first season as a senior competing nationally. She did very well in the Junior Grand Prix season. She earned a silver medal at one of them, fourth at the other, and she was third on the junior podium last season for U.S. Nationals.
Speaking of Karen Chen, there's also that Karen Chen delay of rotation that happens oftentimes because the skaters launch into the air and then rotates, right? It's the whole part about jumping before you're rotating, something that not every skater does, and something that actually, depending on how you watch skating, it's something that people really like. It's a very kind of, it's a pretty way of jumping.
She had a coaching change this year. She's working with Tammy Gamble now, so I think that's why we're seeing a lot of that Karen-esque from
right.
her. But artistically, she's very polished at her age, which is fantastic. She's a very strong competitor.
Wait, wasn't Karen Chen also Pasadena Figure Skating Club? Oh my God.
Peninsula.
Oh, Karen was Peninsula. Yeah. I should have known as a former Peninsula.
Karen and I grew up so close to each other.
Oh, wow.
Fremont, San Jose.
Right.
So we were always part of the same skating club before she moved to LA.
Right. Well, that's it with the program run-throughs. There's now it's sort of like, I think a lot of fans look at this like last 5-10 minutes of practice sessions. They're like, what is actually going on? What is actually going on, Polina? What do you do?
Well, I think for certain skaters, if there's some reps that they wanted to get done, or if they didn't skate the way they wanted to in their music performance, they might be doing sections right now. They might be doing just final stroking patterns to kind of finish off the practice feeling strong. But yeah, I think we're seeing mostly jump reps right now from everybody, getting their feet under them.
Is there something about posturing when you are in this final, 5 to 10 minutes? And what I think some fans don't realize is that judges and officials do come to these sessions, and they're watching, right? And there are some skaters who will spend 5-10 minutes of their time on the ice, especially if you've got multiple practice sessions, doing the stroking, doing the drills, right? And maybe showing that they really want to be kind of positioning themselves as like, I'm really working on my skills, right? How do you think about that?
Absolutely. It's no secret that when you come to nationals, you are kind of under a microscope for the entire week. I think for practices, every skater wants to impress. They want to leave a lasting impression on the judges and the officials. You already want to be on fire and start wowing people so that when you come for the actual performance, they're ready. They know what to expect. So I think every skater is just trying to start lighting the fire now. But again, it's always just practice, and what matters and what counts is the actual competition. So I think there's that blend of trying to feel comfortable and also pinching your shoulder blades back, lifting your chin up just a little higher when you're doing that stroking pattern. Performing to the edge of the last seat, even when you're in the practice rink and there's no arena around you.
Right. Until you trip on your toe pick and you fall on your face, which is...
Or you try to do a skid stop really fast into the boards and you actually slam into the boards.
Right.
Yeah, I've had one of those.
Okay, so behind the scenes, what happens? What as a skater? What would you do right after you get off the ice for a practice?
I mean, right after a practice, you're probably just reflecting on how the practice went multi-immediately, and then you're going back to the hotel room. You're resting. You're very focused on the task at hand for the week, so you're really not doing anything that is going to deter you physically. I would say, especially if they have a second practice that they're planning to attend later tonight in the big arena, they're definitely just going home to rest right now, recoup, and ready to be on again tonight.
So I'm seeing some questions on Twitter. There was one about Sonia Hilmer's triple sow, double sow from last year, where one of the judges gave her a negative grade of execution. There was actually, they needed to actually amend the rules because of because of that combination, really, because she's landing on one foot and changing an edge in order to get to the other jump. And if you look at the rules, if you change edges after you land the first jump in a combo, it's actually something that could lead to a grade of execution issue. And so that was something that the ISU actually had to go and make a change in the rules so that the judges are really following the rules to the T, that they wouldn't penalize her for that. We also saw something like that with Artur Dmitriev years ago when he did that triple Lutz triple flip, where he landed on a different foot than your landing foot in order to get into the flip. I mean, that's another one where I'm like, mentally does not compute. How do you even get out of a jump landing on the other foot?
There are just so many crazy ways to do things. Some people are so talented and so creative. I think we're going to keep seeing rules need to be updated as we're kind of in this jumping era in skating, and people are just always coming up with new things.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned after this final set of, now we're in the spin era of practice. That is literally, like, if you're ever at a practice, you will see that, like, the last 5 minutes or so, everybody's just in their own space doing their spins. Mm-hmm. And then there's Sonia Hilmer doing a hydroplane or doing a cantilever. And now Nina Bauer. Working those edges, girl.
Oh, yeah.
We will have Star Andrews during the ice cut. We're going to have an ice cut after this, and Polina and I are going to do a little quick interview with Star and talk to her about lots of stuff, hopefully.
Woohoo!
So stay tuned for that. Another behind-the-scenes thing. When you're done with your program in practice, the bowing, who teaches you that? Is your coach like, you got to go and bow to every side of the rink? Or do you just see other people do it and you're like, I'll do it?
I think you reach a level where you do kind of see other people doing it and you start to copy. But I also do think some coaches will obviously give pointers. Some coaches will even give you bowing technique. Yeah, because, you still want to look elegant. There's so many ways to do it. But yeah, I think it's
What was
funny.
your bow? Were you a curtsy kind of bow, or were you a straight, like...
I was a full curtsy
You're a
type
full
of bow,
curtsy.
for sure. But now I would say, like, kind of play around with the showgirl little bow.
Does that include like a pirouette?
No.
How does
It's
that
just
work?
like a showgirl pose, and you kind of
you
bob your head
okay,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
rather than the full cross back curtsy.
Yeah, a little knee action, right? And then, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You got to milk your moment.
Yeah, I mean the bows at the end of the practice sessions are actually oftentimes quite a big hit,
They are.
because like, you know, there'll be people, if they get off the ice early, there'll be people who will actually bow early, right?
Yes.
And
everyone can hear it on the ice.
everyone can hear it on the
Everyone
ice.
knows
Yep.
that somebody's done before them.
There you go. Elise just is
doing it.
is leaving a little bit early. Ren is following suit, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes the skaters are just like so pumped that all of them stayed until the very end, and all 6 of them bow at the same time. It's
Mega applause.
It really it's like a practice. This is what I love about practice sessions, is that they are in itself its own micro drama.
Yes.
And I love that about watching this stuff. There is a sizable crowd
Yes.
upstairs where it's heated.
There's
How am I?
cheering.
How we're still not
We
in our
never put our
jackets. We
coats
never
back
put our,
on.
our coats back on. That's amazing.
There's approximately 1 minute remaining
All right.
in this practice session.
First group of women's practice is over now. We will be back in just a couple of minutes while the Zamboni's on to have Star Andrews with us. So come back and join us very soon.
Being an elite athlete really is a gift, I think. It teaches you so much for life. I think for me, my biggest takeaway is I'm capable of so much more than I even know. And I'm so much stronger than I know, physically and mentally. I think that's something that I've really come to appreciate about being an elite athlete, is that it pushes you really hard. And part of the challenge is kind of accepting that, and accepting that some days are harder than others, but those are the days that make a champion. And yeah. My goal this year with my programs is to really impact the audience in a meaningful way and really tell a story with my programs. My short program is very like playful and cheeky, and I'm really excited to kind of play with that and have it grow throughout the season. And then my long is very emotional, and I love my long program. I think it's so beautiful, and the music I've loved for a long time. So to be able to skate to it now and really feel I can do it justice with my maturity is super exciting for me, and I'm so excited for everyone to see it. I've been doing this inverted flying sit spin for, gosh, probably 16 years at least. I used to call it my pretzel spin, because what happens is I do a death drop and then I tuck my free leg underneath my right leg. So it kind of looks a little bit like a pretzel. It's really fun for me. I've been doing it forever, so it's pretty easy for me at this point in my career. So yeah, I have it in both programs, so keep an eye out.
To perform the way that we did at the Olympics, to not be able to have our medal, to not be able to celebrate as a team, to not be able to have that moment together was really a challenge. To me, a medal represents the pinnacle of accomplishment. It means setting a goal, it means determination, accumulating a team around you, taking every single possible step in order to achieve that goal. The empty medal box represents a negation of all the success and accomplishments of this incredible team. We have put in a lot of work, a lot of effort, and being able to have this tangible medal is a tangible representation of all the hard work and support that you received over the years.
we started skating together when we were both 13. This is our 10th season together. I mean, I think we kind of grew up together. We were training in Michigan at the time, and we both didn't have our parents with us. So I think it created the really strong bond and a really great friendship.
Yeah, almost 10 years. I would say we can finish each other's sentences. There's no one I'd rather do this with.
I think one of the moments that was really special was our first Junior Worlds where we medaled. We got third. We weren't necessarily expecting it going into it, but I remember sitting in that room and realizing we had just medaled at our first Junior World Championships.
I was almost like sick to my stomach, like, oh my God, is it actually going to happen?
It's one of my favorite memories to this day.
And then most recently also at the World Championships. We've been through a lot the past couple seasons, and that's a very memorable moment for me, is competing at our first World Championships and making the top 10. Growing up watching ice dance and seeing both Maddie and Scott, and now having them work with us, it's really cool. It's really, really cool because I was a fan of ice dance. I was a fan of them and watching them perform and hearing what they have to say, all the knowledge that they've collected over time, it's special.
They're such great people and great coaches. They're so knowledgeable. I think for me, Maddie's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. Working with a woman every day wasn't something I had before, and it's helped me so much over the years. I'm so happy we get to work with her.
This offseason we worked really hard. We focused on the 1%. We changed our equipment a little bit. We had nutrition plans. We changed our trainer to further develop us, and we want to show that in the upcoming months.
In the short, I really like our samba. Well, it's the choreographic element. It's at the end, and it just builds the momentum of the program, and it's just so fun to do. It's my favorite part.
Our free dance is a little bit more of a complicated story, and there are times in which I give a little bit foreshadowing as to what happens at the end. So look out for that.
Guys, okay, he's been asking like random people this, so he has this answer like down packed and ready. Go.
Well, I have two. I have Sunday and Tuesday, but I think Sunday's my favorite day of the week for sure. Yeah, with Tuesday as a close second. Taco Tuesday. Very simple. Yes, I believe in it.
Did you like talk to someone before Jean-Luc tell you to do this?
Yeah. I mean, there's so much out there. I'm a believer in entire. I'm a conspiracy nut, so I'm a believer in entire galactic governments and interplanetary travel.
All right, we're back, and while you're watching this Zamboni action, which is really exciting, the more exciting thing is we've got Star Andrews.
Hey guys.
We got Star Andrews here with us. We're going to start off with something fun, and by fun I mean this is a Polina Edmunds exclusive, so I'm going to let you take it.
Star, I learned a very fun fact about you this summer.
Yes.
It's that you have a second name that you go by.
An alter ego, maybe?
An alter ego for, if you ever want to be a lawyer. So share it with the audience.
So, fun fact is, a lot of people don't know this, that my first name is Kennedy and my middle name is Star. But I always go by Star just because I like that better. But my mom's like, in case you want to be a lawyer, I made your first name Kennedy. And I was like, well, I didn't go that route, so sorry, Mom.
Star really fits the personality.
Yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
yes.
It's not the stage name, it's the professional name or whatever you want to call it. See, this is why you all should be watching Peacock and watching us, because we bring you this hard-hitting news. Star, we were watching your practice. You look great out there. Your jumps look snappy and light and all that. How's preparation been?
Preparation's been really good. I've been running really consistent programs. Clean longs, clean shorts every day. Today, because it was my first practice, I didn't skate yesterday for the first one. I just felt just a little fatigued from the flying, the travel day, but I was just happy to get out there and run my program. I'm excited for the practice tonight because it's in the main rink, and I haven't actually seen it yet. I came straight from registration to the practice rink, so I'm excited to go to skate in the main rink tonight.
Tell us a little bit about your strategy for just practices at Nationals. So you have 2 today. Would you say that this session you're going harder than the second, or what's kind of the process for you before you compete?
I wouldn't say necessarily I go harder. I kind of take both of them as the same. Just later on, we decided to do a short just because it is a little bit later. But the long program competition day, it will be late at night. So it really didn't matter which program I did on the earlier session. But I think that because I was a little bit fresher, we wanted to do the long program and just to get a feel of like how I'm feeling today and things like that, and later on do the short program.
We always want to bring the behind the scenes here. Is how's the ice here compared to other ice rinks?
The ice is good. To me, honestly, sometimes I can't really tell the difference. I just do what I know what I'm supposed to do and go out there and try my hardest. I can tell when the ice is a bit harder though, just because the rink is also colder. And it's just a little bit harder on my edge to get up on my edge jumps. But for the most part, I feel like this ice is great. I love ice in the arena. Just in general, I love arena ice because it is a little bit softer, but I just love the atmosphere of skating in an arena. It's just, there's so much space.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, and I just love skating in arena, so I'm excited for that later.
See, the two of you are like, there's nothing like it. I'm like, that's terrifying.
No, I love it. I honestly love
too.
it just because it feels so open. And it doesn't feel like a practice rink, if that makes sense. Like a practice rink, it feels homey and like just comfortable. And even I like the arena; it feels comfortable to me too. But I don't know, I just really like the atmosphere and just seeing all the seats and
the seats. You really feel like you can perform outwards way more than in an enclosed space like this.
I agree, because there's just so much space to like look out at. And I feel like in a practice rink, you're looking at glass. So
exactly,
I mean, it's just completely different.
Again, I'm like, you're looking at glass? That's great. That's fantastic. I know you had surgery, heart surgery over the summer.
Yes.
How's the recovery been there? How do you feel? Like, is it just better? Is it how's it been?
So funny thing is, it was my second surgery that I had. I had supraventricular tachycardia, and I didn't realize that I had two different types. Because after the first surgery, I was still having heart episodes to where my heart, the heart rate would just spike out of nowhere. I would be 70, and then it would go all the way up to 220 in like a matter of seconds. So after my first surgery, it was still happening, and I was very confused because I was like, the surgery was supposed to make it go away, and it's still happening. So I was quite frustrated, and we didn't know what it was. And then we decided to schedule a second surgery going in blind because we still didn't know what it was. We didn't know if the nerve grew back or if I had another one. And having two different types is pretty rare. And yay me, I have the rare type of two different types of tachycardia. And sadly, they couldn't fix this one. And because it was too close to different important nerves. So if they burned it, there was a chance of burning the important nerves as well. So they couldn't get rid of it, which is okay, because at least we knew what it was, because we didn't know what it was before.
Yeah.
And we tried different types of medication to try and tame it, but it actually made it worse. So we just got rid of the medications, and I know how to deal with it now, just because I've been dealing with it for 10 years. Yeah. But I mean, it's not fun just knowing that I have that. But I know how to deal with it, and if it ever does happen in competition, I just go up to the referee and tell them, instead of trying to skate a program with it happening, because it's nearly impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, management, right? Just kind of figuring out how to do that. All right, I know we are about to get back on the ice pretty soon, and you need to go and get ready for your next practice tonight, and maybe take a nap or whatever you skaters like to do.
Eat some lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Lunch.
Protein.
Lunchtime.
Yum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yum, protein.
All right, Start. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of
Thank you for
course.
taking your time out and talking to us and talking to the world out there in Peacock.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
We can't wait to watch you skate, Kennedy.
Thank you. I can't wait either. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with the next group.
You just messing with me?
No, we're starting.
Oh, we started? Oh.
Pineapple on pizza.
Something pizza?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Pineapple
Pineapple
on pizza.
on pizza.
It's so loud.
Just do it.
What? Did you start? Brian Boitano.
One more time.
Brian Boitano.
Portobello. Mushrooms.
No. Brian Boitano.
Are you saying a real word?
Yeah. Brian.
Bracket?
No,
Bra-
no.
Bra-
Brian Boitano.
Can you be a little more emphatic with your...
Brian.
Pass. What was that? Did you eat my brunch?
Do I read books? What?
Did you?
Do you?
Did you?
Sweet.
Did you eat my brunch?
My what?
Brunch.
Push.
Did you eat my brunch?
Toothbrush. Did you eat my toothbrush?
Brunch.
Brush.
Brunch.
Brush.
Brunch. Brunch.
Brunch.
Did you eat my brunch?
Did I eat your brunch?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Let's go back to the last
Yeah,
one.
let's go back to the last one. It's a person.
A purse?
No. It's a person, a human, a person.
person.
Yes.
Oh.
Brian Boitano. What would Brian Boitano do?
Brian Boitano.
Yeah.
Ladies, group 2. The following
Hey, we're
skaters
back.
may take the ice for
We're always
warm-up.
back.
Michelle
It is a reminder
Shen,
of the practice sessions
Josephine
at the
Lee,
2024
Alexander,
Prevagen U.S. Figure Skating
Wong,
Championships. This is Jackie Wong at Rocker Skating. I've got two-time U.S. medalist Polina Edmunds with me to talk about the women's practice some more. How was that first group for you?
I think it was great. I mean, just watching everybody actually go after their jumps, go after their free skates. I think it's just amazing to see such high quality skating in person again.
There's a feeling that like, oh yeah, competition's going.
Yeah.
Like yesterday's
Feels
practice
real.
was like people were a little like let me just skate around and figure out what's going on. Today was like I'm gonna do all my triples. So that's gonna be fun. All right,
yeah.
so this group we've got Michelle, Audrey, Alex, Brooke, Mia, and Josephine. Brooke Swalsky is an interesting one here because she's the late replacement for Ava Ziegler. Should we talk about Ava Ziegler and the withdrawal?
Definitely. I mean, wow.
Before we go to the wow, but the thing if folks don't know, Ava Ziegler, our very surprising NHK Trophy champion. That was when that competition happened, there was a lot of gasping around the figure skating world of like, whoa, like, you know, Ava, we've seen her before skate well, but we've never seen her skate like that. And she just went in there and won the whole thing. And last week was it, she announced that she was going to, let's actually bring this back a little bit. The Four Continents team was named early this year because of the scheduling, right? So usually Four Continents is 2, maybe 3 weeks after Nationals, and so Nationals will name both Four Continents and Worlds. This year, because of the scheduling, Nationals is where it usually is. Four Continents was scheduled a week earlier than it usually is. So they actually are back-to-back weeks, and so it didn't make any sense for U.S. figure skating to say, hey, you know, we're going to wait until the very end of Nationals to name the Four Continents team. So they named that team early based on criteria that was already set. Mm-hmm. And so Ava Ziegler was one of the people who were named to that team. And last week, she announced that she was skipping nationals in order to concentrate solely on 4 continents. And of course, there was a lot of talk about it on social media.
Very interesting
Yeah,
choice.
exactly. What do you think of that choice?
I mean, I think nationals is one of the most important competitions of the season for many reasons. Qualifying is obviously one of the biggest parts of that. But in terms of just performing in such an intense energy event and getting to practice that adrenaline under pressure at such a high event, I think it's very important for skaters to go through that and practice that, especially so they can prepare for the most important season of all, which is always the Olympic seasons. So I was definitely surprised by Ava choosing to sit out of nationals.
Yeah.
But hopefully she gets the prep done well and can actually perform well again at 4 continents.
I think it's interesting because they're without knowing the actual kind of intricacies of that decision-making process, there has to have been some sort of calculation of we can really only focus on one competition and feel like we can give our best at one of the 2 because they're so close together, and we're going to pick one of them, and they decided to pick 4 continents instead. That said, everybody else who was named to the 4 continents team is here at U.S. Nationals. So, I think it's the decision making is interesting. Maybe we'll hear more about it at some point. But we'll see what happens next week at 4 continents.
Absolutely. Every skater is different, so if this is going to help her peak, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a cool thing, right? For someone like a Brooke who was just, didn't make the U.S. Nationals, due to points and got the late call. Isn't that cool, right? To be able to make your first senior nationals and have a New Year's surprise doing it.
It's very exciting, I'm sure, for the skater, and I think in some ways it can even take a little bit of the pressure off because you weren't necessarily expecting to go, and having such a short turnaround, it's just pure excitement at this point rather than apprehension.
I mean, I saw her backstage warming up yesterday, and it was just the excitement was very clear. Like, she's very excited and happy to be here. So, looking forward to seeing more of that. In this group, we've got kind of, if you think about potential medal contenders, right? Josephine Lee, who last year was the surprise 5th at nationals. Audrey Shen, who's done well, both nationally and internationally. And then I'd say something maybe of a dark horse in Mia Kalin, who is and has been the American woman doing quad jumps. I saw a couple of nice, clean quad toes yesterday. A couple of landed quad sows that looked either under or a downgrade, but she's putting those things out there, and it'll be interesting to see what she does this week and how she does them.
Totally. She's been consistently attempting those quads for multiple seasons now, so it's very impressive.
Michelle Lee starts us off. One thing to watch about her is she's one of those skaters who definitely has a favorite jump, and for her it's the triple Lutz. She just does those Lutzes like it's like, oh yeah, that's a triple Lutz.
She has a great takeoff.
Yep.
Great edge control, very clear outside edge on that Lutz takeoff. I love to see it.
Polina, as we're watching Michelle Lee, your thoughts on leg warmers?
I'm a big fan of
Are
leg
you?
warmers.
outside of what we're watching here, if you literally had a or maybe not even astute skating fans, any skating fans, you've probably seen the different exit variations from spins. You saw that just now with Michelle Lee doing a little stag jump out of her combo spin. That's a new feature that just came about to give you another higher level, because they're always changing the rules with how you do it. That's one of the cleaner ones we've seen. Looked still like a Q. I think for Audrey Shin to have a good placement this week, she's going to need that triple toe especially.
She's going to need to hit it with absolute solidity.
Yeah, exactly.
No question. Audrey finished 7th and 9th at her 2 Grand Prix this season. She was 13th at U.S. Championships last year. So she's definitely looking to improve with her performance at Nationals here.
I love this program for her. She's always been the type who's been able to emote with the right kind of music, and I think this piece of music especially has been very good for her. I think she worked really well with it. That loop she's been having trouble with this season, and I think it's sort of that one extra quarter of a turn that's been giving her problems.
Yes, directionally she's kind of not jumping straight back to the wall. She's dropping her right shoulder. So she really needs to have that mental confidence to just rip that jump straight up.
For folks who are watching at home, the thing that people don't necessarily watch for, people see like, this is how they jump off the ground or jump off the ice, and this is what it looks like in the air position. This is how they land. A lot of times when you're a skater or a coach, you're looking for a lot of these nuances that Polina were just talking about, kind of body alignment, positioning. Shoulders and hips are such big parts of whether or not the jump's going to go up in the right way, and that's a lot of the times that's how I watch jumps and how I watch landings, and how you can potentially tell whether something is under or not is really kind of these nuanced body movements that you see.
Definitely the body alignment, it's so important to how the jump turns out. Really makes the difference. So timing and alignment is everything.
plateau from me and Kalin just now. That's going into the free skate run through.
Alex Evans represents the Skating Club of New York. She was second at Eastern Sectionals this year, earning her spot at US Nationals. Alex seems to be a skater who, when she jumps, she kind of transfers her weight back before actually jumping up. So that's why you see her sometimes a little bit tilted in the air.
Another quad toe from me and Kalin.
Very solid.
This is the second time I'm seeing Alex Evans at nationals, and I still remember sort of the way that she projects in her programs. It's always like there's a certain joy to her skating that's very evident in the way that she skates. Refreshing to see. I like it.
You can tell she likes the dance aspect of skating, the performance aspect.
So I want to talk about that triple sow real quick because Polina, that's something that I remember you did, which was a half loop into a triple sow as a setup. And there have been a few skaters who've done that, and it's maybe a little bit unconventional, but also it's something that some coaches will do as a drill. Want to hear you talk about that a little bit more because you actually put that in competition programs.
I think once you start doing that half loop sow cow combo out of other jumps, you just get really used to that takeoff. And one of the best parts about that takeoff specifically is when you land in that sow cow takeoff off the half loop, you have to check yourself.
Yes.
And you feel really excellent control right before you rip the edge for that sow cow. So I personally, once I started doing those half loop combos, it just became my sow cow regular entrance.
Yeah, it's a thing that for skating fans who've watched skating for decades, you have noticed that sow cow entries have changed dramatically since the 70s and 80s. There used to be, you used to do sow cows, almost everybody used to do sow cows from a forward outside three-turn entrance. And you'd see a lot of swinginess in the way that people go into the sow. And the more recent, couple of decades have been this, as Polina was talking about, the checked entrance, right? To have control before you actually get into the air. And that's why you're seeing many more Mohawk or C-step entrances out of backward outside three turns. And Paulina's talk about the half loop entrance is another version of that allows you to check your positioning a little bit better. Brooke G. Waltz. This is what I was talking about yesterday. She came out guns blazing, like just really ready to be here, and almost like she was like, I'm gonna train for these nationals whether I go or not.
wonderful to see. She's a beautiful skater. She has such a wonderful air position.
Yep.
She really stretches in the air. She looks like a tightrope as she spins, which is the best air position you can have, not only for aerodynamics, but also for the aesthetic of the jump. Great technique.
It is very good technique.
She takes her time on the takeoff, so
Yep.
you can see that she's not rushing. She's not muscling with extra upper body. She's very still, actually, at the top half, and she's just using her legs to jump. It's excellent. Love that bubble braid on her ponytail, too. Her whole outfit. Love it. Long leg warmers. See that, Jack?
Yeah, more leg warmers. Okay, this free skate run through has been pretty good.
That triple sow covered so much ice. She hit it so confidently. It is amazing to see a skater take advantage of
Yep.
a spot here at Nationals. It's really what Nationals is all about.
Almost a perfect run through from Jigwall. Well done.
There's definitely something about classic skating music, like we talked about earlier, but it just sounds so good in the arena.
You say classic, I say overused.
Well, in an era where you can skate to anything,
I mean, true.
I think it's a classic.
It is classic. Flying crossfoot back. Another one of those things that I had no idea physically how that works. My joints do not work like that. It's so cool when you do. I mean, speaking of that spin, Brady Tennell, that's one of her signature spins. We miss her here.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully she is recovering well from the broken ankle earlier this season. All right, we got Mia Kalin.
Josephine Lee.
Here we go.
Quad time.
Mia is a very talented skater. She comes out of Oakland, California, same rink as Alyssa Liu.
And has a cat named Zoe.
She was 8th at her Junior Grand Prix this fall and 1st at King's Cup International.
Marked.
Marking it.
Marked. Done enough quad toes.
Saving that adrenaline peak for competition, I see.
I think she's got a toe and a sow planned in her free skate. So this would be the setup for the sow.
Went for it.
She went for it.
It was a little under. I have to say, I really respect the fact that she goes for it at every competition. She's not one to shy away from attempting it, from landing it. She doesn't let competition spook her out. And that's a really good quality to have in a competitor when you are doing such difficult jumps, because everybody needs to practice that adrenaline in competition.
I mean, there's also nothing like jumping scared. That is a recipe for injury, is jumping scared. If you don't commit to it, people talk about not knowing where themselves are in the air. Like, that is one of those things where you get really spooked if you're landing somewhere that you have no idea where you're going.
Well, even just in competition in general, or a practice like this where you are feeling that little spike of adrenaline, things don't always feel the way they do at home and practice under that calm pretense. So you can be fully prepared, but your body might start doing different things. So kind of figuring out mentally where you need to be, even in those stressful situations, to hit is so important. And the only way you're going to do that is by practicing it. So she's doing it well.
All right, we're going to go another fashion question for you here, Polina. I'm very interested in this as well. There has been a
The next skater is Josephine Lee, skating her long program.
Josephine Lee can solve a Rubik's Cube with her feet.
If that's not talent, I don't know what is.
I don't even know how that works. I'm going to need to talk to her about that.
Beautiful.
She's one of those skaters who, when she gets everything together, everything just looks so kind of neat and put together.
Easy.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
Very
so
easy.
hard to make elements look easy, and that's really a testament to how good of a skater is. And I think Josephine is definitely a skater that when she hits, it's so light, it's so delicate, it's so natural.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing quality to have on the ice. It's been great to watch her grow artistically as well. She's really taking command on the ice.
So a thing that I will give her and her team a lot of props is math. Like the way that this program is structured is really taking advantage of making sure you're, one, maybe not taking the risk of the triple that she has been struggling with a bit this season, but two,
At the very least one, 2 is best. Beautiful hair cutter.
that was close to a clean run through. Just had a turn on that triple sow cow for Josephine Lee. This was how she was looking last year. And, you just wonder if she can continue skating like this, what kind of momentum she can build, right? I mean, you were talking about how her artistic presence has increased so much over even the past season. There's a lot of potential there.
Absolutely. Even just watching on the rink right now, she's really taking command on the ice, performing outwards. Her ice coverage is incredible, the speed.
I think she was totally looking at us while she was performing that.
Yes, she's a very strong competitor if she can hit when the moment counts. Great start here from Josephine Lee.
Dark horses everywhere.
I love it. She's a skater that the music really energizes her.
Yeah.
She loves the powerful music.
In this practice session, and if we have mispronounced your names, please come to the announcer's booth.
We're now down to our last few minutes again. I think Audrey might have left. Is that right?
She does not appear to be on the ice anymore.
Yeah.
At least from our angle.
I think it is. It's one of those where
no bow.
She probably bowed and we didn't see it.
We were watching Josephine.
Yeah. It's one of those where you were talking about earlier. Like some of these skaters will take this as I'm gonna do a bit of warm up before the real practice that they see it later on in the day in the main rink. And it is the first time they're going to be the first and only time they get to be in the main rink before the short program. So that there's sort of added significance to that because you want to be able to feel the ice that you're going to be competing on.
Definitely.
What was the worst ice you've ever skated on, competition-wise?
Oh, man.
You don't have to name names. I guess I'm asking you to name names.
Well, honestly, this is funny. It was Junior Grand Prix Mexico City because...
Was it so warm?
There were hills on the ice, I believe.
Uh-huh.
It was just one of those rickety old rinks in a mall.
Yeah.
But I also remember in Nationals, I think it might have been Boston 2014, there were melting patches on the ice. It was very interesting. It was pretty soft. But no complaints here. I did pretty well.
Maybe you should skate.
It's all mental.
Yeah.
It's all mental.
Well, that was what Star was talking about earlier, where she was like, if I'm honest with you, I don't really feel the difference most of the time, right? You see this with every sport where an athlete's like, oh, this happened because of, this particular thing. And it's like, did it actually happen because of that particular thing? Or,
Exactly. No
or are you
excuses.
post-rationalizing?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. You definitely do feel when an ice surface is very soft or when it's very hard. Like your takeoffs are just very different depending on that. So we're back, and we've got our jackets on, as you see. If any of you are in the practice rink, the upstairs is very warm.
Yes.
And the downstairs is very not. But it's gonna be good. We've got a couple more minutes left in this practice session, and then we're gonna go into our last women's practice session of the day before we go to the pairs. Polina, anything you wanted to add before we maybe take a short water break?
I think the last two groups, it's so great to see everybody utilizing the time, utilizing the practice to the best ability, and getting comfortable in the ice. And I think we're going to see hopefully a very strong event this year at Nationals.
It's funny because we're seeing ourselves in on the screen, kind of like looking side by side to side, and it's literally like there's things happening right there. Like Mia Kalin just did a triple toe over there, and there are a lot of bows going on over there. So we will be back in a couple minutes for the final group. All right, we're back. We needed some water, didn't we? And our coats. We needed coats.
Oh, yes. We need a blanket. A heated one.
Space heater, maybe. All right, we got our last group here. Again, reminding you, this is Jackie Wong, and I've got Polina Edmunds with me on this women's practice. This is the first time we're doing this, so let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear about. Send me a tweet, send me an Instagram, whatever. At Rocker Skating, that's me. At Polina Edmunds, that's her. And we're going to have 6 more skaters, 6 more run-throughs coming up. And this one's going to be an interesting one because we didn't see Amber Glenn yesterday. We didn't see Isabelle Inverso yesterday. That's very common. That the first day of practice is a little bit more empty than later on in the competition. But arguably, right, and we also didn't see Claire So either. Arguably, Amber Glenn, Isabelle Inverso are on paper your 2 favorites for the title. But I would say, and Polina, I want to hear your thoughts on this one, like, what's going to happen? Like, do you think this is one of those nationals where we're going to see a big, huge surprise upset kind of thing, or do you feel like it's going to be what's on paper?
I really think this is a nationals where, depending on how everyone skates, we're going to see the lineup that falls into place day of. Obviously, there's always favorites going into an event, but truly, I feel like the women's field, we do have a lot of strong skaters, and not all of them are really able to hit when it counts, unfortunately. So, even some skaters on this practice, I could say confidently, deserve to be national champion, but they don't always deliver those 2 clean programs that really earn them that title. So we really are just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Lots of potential, though.
Lots of potential. Lots of potential for chaos, that is for sure. I mean, we'll see that.
Inner and outer.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see that in almost every discipline here. There's a lot of just like raw talent, and also a lot of, this fall season having been, there have been some inconsistencies, and it leads to you being like, okay, well, what is actually going to happen, right? We saw someone like a Josephine Lee earlier who, it's not been a great season for her so far, but there's also just been moments of brilliance. And then you see her practice like this, and you're like, okay, well, it's got to be there.
Yeah.
But it's always, how you bring it the day of the competition.
It is. At the end of the day, there will always be champions of practice, but there can only be a couple champions of competition.
I was a champion of practice.
I was not a champion of practice,
I wish
in
I
fact.
was like you.
But I was a champion in competition,
Yeah,
I gotta say.
exactly.
So
that's the difference.
I have to say, watching just the warm-ups of this group already, I am impressed with the speed and ice coverage that Isabelle Inverso is showing right now. I know that's something that she's struggled with a little bit in the past, just being such a light skater herself, but she's really taking command of the ice right now. Happy to see it.
I want to talk about that term that you just used, light. And I think depending on the skater that you see, and it's the contrast between Amber and Isabeau is actually a very kind of clear kind of way of defining that term. Lightness often happens, or lightness and power often happens as a result of ankle power, right? And how much we hear this in dance all the time, how much your skate kind of digs into the ice, and you hear a lot of the the ripping of the edge, right, and all of that kind of stuff, and that happens quite a bit in dance. And with single skating, there's often there's skaters who kind of float on the ice and don't kind of get into it, and then there's skaters who when they're on the ice because you can hear them. And I think that is very much a difference when you see in person an Amber skate versus an Isabelle skate. It's that sort of
It's power.
ankle power, right? That's there.
I think it definitely has to do with body type as well as age a lot of the time. You know, you have a skater like Isabelle who is very like petite in terms of size. Of course, she's growing now, she's getting older, but she has been a young one on the scene, and with that, she has a very light balletic skating style. So, of course, going against a skater like Amber, who's very athletic, very strong, older, more powerful, it is very much a difference, but there is really no, right or wrong or better or worse. It really comes down to style preference of the judges at the end of the day. But I think when you see any skater really push and get into the speed, light skaters can develop that same power. It just takes time.
The first skater skating the short program is Katie Shen, followed by Lindsay Wagner.
We got Katie Shen coming up first. She's one that when you kind of look at her her season so far, that when I saw her on the roster, I was like, okay, this one is a skater to watch. Saw some good stuff from her yesterday in practice, but also generally kind of a little bit of nerves. So interested to see where we have today. She is the first to skate, so my guess is she's marking all her jumps. So we'll see where it goes. Nope. We're getting jumps. Triple toe.
Nicely done.
We're not messing around here. We're I feel like every skater on this session has been like got their game faces on.
They are in attack mode right now. It's like a video game. Very different vibes from the last group.
Yeah. Katie Shen with a clean run through. Speaking of overused music, would you call this a classic?
You don't love Pirates?
Would you call this a classic?
I would.
Okay.
Well, actually no. But
if I'm being honest with you, I do like this music.
I do too. It's like skating to James Bond. Have a million skaters skated to it? Yes. When I hear it on the ice, does it sound amazing?
Are you excited about
it?
Yes, exactly. That's actually something I wanted to talk to you about. Why people use the same music, right? And I get this question all the time on social media, and they're like, but like there's millions of pieces of music that you can use. My explanation to it is that skaters often obviously watch other skaters, and people get inspired to skate, and people get inspired to skate because of programs that they've seen, and programs that they've seen are related to music that they hear, right? And so a lot of times, especially younger skaters will say, I want to skate to this piece of music because my hero skated to it, or because this is the thing that inspired me to go into figure skating. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Totally. I mean, there's so many reasons people feel attached to a particular piece. or inspired by a particular piece, but I think there's something to be said about the way it sounds in an arena. You know, it sounds completely different than in your car, for example. So I think going with classics a lot of the time, just the way that the music builds and fills up the ice, it matters. It energizes you on the ice. It energizes the audience. So if you do pick one of those classic, famous pieces, and you skate a great program, I mean, it's like a recipe for having people on their feet.
Right.
Not always the case for some of the more modern music or unknown pieces of music. You know, it really depends on the performance.
Lindsay Wang, another one of those skaters who is, I think, in her second nationals. Kind of her excitement of being here is also like you can see that it's something that means a lot to her, right? Like for a lot of these skaters who are not necessarily looking for medals, this was the thing that they were shooting for all year long.
Definitely, it's a huge milestone. Qualifying for a national championships, I mean, you are the best, you know, top 20 skaters or however many skaters in the nation.
Yeah.
We're a pretty big country.
Yeah.
It's very competitive to make it to nationals.
This is just like the last maybe 10 seconds of what's going on around Polina and my like little station over here has been very, very cool because it's literally been like jump, 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 jump. Everything's landed cleanly.
A lot of really great technique on this practice ice.
Amber Glenn is just like speeding around the ice, hitting everything. Not that that's a surprise.
She has always been a skater who is a champion of practice, I would say.
Very
She
much.
really
Yeah.
has the horse blinders on, is completely focused. No one's getting in her way. She's here to get her job done.
Yeah, practice is such her zone.
Yeah, she's very solid in practice. Just hit a great triple flip, triple toe combination. Her challenge is just being able to do the same mindset in competition.
Meanwhile, a pretty solid skate from Lindsay as well. You'll see, and we saw this from Lindsay just now, there are coaching techniques that will have you do parts and sections of programs during run-throughs, especially during competition time.
Next to skate is
Were you one of those? Were you a full
Isabelle
run-through person in competitions?
Followed by Amber Glenn.
I think it depended,
Yeah.
but I would typically say I did a full run through, but I marked the jumps because I didn't want that adrenaline peak in practice. I wanted to save it for competition.
Sarah Everhart on right now. The thing that impressed me yesterday while I was watching Sarah was the way that all her jumps just have the the kind of spring that you would want to see a jump have. I mean, it's just like these jumps just go up.
She has great timing and jump ability, a great air position.
Yeah.
This is also her first year as a senior skater. She was 13th last year in junior ladies, 6th at her junior Grand Prix in Poland this past fall. And she won Eastern Sectionals, earning her this nationals trip.
Okay, this practice session has been on fire.
Oh yeah, they are not here to play.
Amber's setting up for triple axel. Here it comes. That.
Bam.
Oh
that was beautiful.
Oh, sorry for fanboying just now. Okay, that triple axel is exactly how I saw it at Skate America. I don't know what's clicked about it this season that it hasn't clicked in the past. It's just worked.
I think it's that same, just mindset of trying it over and over again and getting comfortable doing it outside of her home rink, as well as, that muscle memory when she's nervous.
Yeah. That was a beauty. Oof.
So sometimes when a skater is doing sections of a program with their music on, if you watch them outside of their music playing in practice, they might do a full run through without the music. Yep. And that's really because they don't want the attention on them while they're doing it. They want it to feel like practice. They want to blend in a little bit more. Again, it just has to do with peaking for competition.
Yep. A word that we hear a lot, Sarah Everhart, that's a clean run through.
Great outside edge takeoff, very clear on that last triple Lutz.
A term that we use a lot in skating circles that some fans might not hear a lot is pattern. When you were talking about how skaters run through their program without their music, sometimes to not have the attention, but sometimes also just like the way that you practice jumps is not necessarily the way that you put them in programs. Clean run through from Sarah Everhart. And so practicing the specific patterns that you go into your jumps on for the program is actually a very important thing for muscle memory, right? For the way that you want to go into it when you are actually in the competition.
Definitely. I think, in this new era of what counts as a transition and, point maximization in terms of layout of the program, a lot has changed in terms of what a good pattern is for a jump. And, I think the most important thing is that a skater is doing the jump at the end of the day, but you will see some more aesthetic entrances when they are a bit more classic old school than some of the, wiggle entrances that we see a lot in jump technique now.
Here we go.
Amber is someone with stellar technique.
God,
and
another one.
Triple axel.
Could have been a quarter, but I don't care.
She looked a little tentative going into it. I think that was, a little bit short, but the one she hit before her run through was pretty perfect. Triple flip, triple toe. I love how solid this combo is for her. I think putting the triple axel in kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off of that combo because think anyone would consider a triple axel being harder.
You think?
Amber has an excellent air position, great ice coverage on her jumps, and she lands very solidly. She has a great landing position.
Skipping the sow. Her least favorite jump. Anyone who's been following skating this season has known what Amber has been doing, which is the free skate has been moments of just technical brilliance and then moments of kind of mental trying to figure it out, right? And this is one of those where we don't see it in practice, where, you know, she'll do a great first half and then completely lose the second half. That doesn't happen in practice, and I don't think you're going to see that here.
I think looking at Amber's track record, she just is a very consistent skater in practice always. She has that zone. She probably doesn't feel the same pressure. And it has been something that she's struggled with competition-wise, to not lose that concentration and focus within the program and just, you know, have short-term memory even if she makes a mistake. I do believe that if she can skate 2 great programs, she is definitely a top contender in the world, not just the US.
I agree.
Gorgeous spiral moment.
This great practice group continues.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I really appreciate that Amber has very aesthetic positioning
Spin
on all
positions.
of her spins. Yes.
That's what I thought you were gonna say just now.
It's so important. Beautiful hair cutter, Bielman.
And if you're wondering, based on what you're hearing from the audience, whether that is a lot of people in the audience, it actually is a lot of people in the audience.
Next to skate is Isabelle Inverso.
Love their practices here.
They do indeed. Isabelle's strength is really that artistic side to her skating. Her spins are wonderfully done. Her transitions, when we see them tomorrow and Friday, are very intricate, very difficult. She has great control of her edges and skating skill demonstration.
Claire saw one of those skaters who have all the potential artistically and has problems with consistency and under rotations. And you can really see the kinds of, it's like kind of basics, you know, that she shows that if she could put it together, it's there.
Claire was 7th at U.S. Nationals last year. She was 10th at Skate America this season, and she earned her Nationals spot by placing 2nd at Midwestern Sectionals.
Oblivion, another piece of classic music. For the 90s skating kids watching, this music will always be associated with Pencil and Swallow for me. First time I heard it. Amber Glenn continues to drill those triple flip, triple toes. Everything is spot on. Claire also having, and that was my first announcer's jinx, wasn't it?
We made it to the third group.
I know.
It's okay. The end of the third group.
I know. That wasn't such a jinx. I mean, she landed everything else.
She did. She tends to land a little bit short on her jumps, so she needs that extra oomph in the air to get all the way around. Just a little bit more tightness in that last rotation, rather than letting go too early. She's so interesting to watch as well because she has power and she has speed. But I just want to see her kind of like bend into those ankles a little bit more.
Ankle power, as we were talking about earlier. Very deliberate practice from Isabelle Inverso. Very much gonna do some drills, gonna take it one by one, not gonna overdo it. And you know, when we say Isabelle is not overdoing it, it's that she's only doing 2 triple lutz, triple sow combinations.
There are approximately 8 minutes remaining in this practice. If we have mispronounced your names, please notify us so we can.
Well, we're done with run-throughs now.
Your event.
Usually it's at this point where you see some of the skaters, if they're doing some of the bigger jumps, they kind of go for it. Amber's already done a couple of triple axels. I don't think that's going to happen here anymore. I think she's probably, as she's speeding around the ring.
We don't know what she's going
We don't
after.
know what she's going to do. But I think this is probably, yeah, she's back to the Lutz.
Another Lutz.
She's probably saving it for the rest of the practices later on.
Mm-hmm.
Although, you know, that is a difference maybe between what, you know, winning practices Amber Glenn used to be like versus now, where, you know, she's actually being more deliberate about what she's practicing and why she's practicing it versus like, oh, I'm going to just do all these jumps that I know I can do.
Yes. I think it's important for every skater to be strategic and learn what works best for them. Because as we've seen today, there are so many different ways to go about practice.
Totally. Well, and Amber was just doing exactly what you were saying earlier, where she was going through parts of the second half of her free skate.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing Isabelle doing something as similar as well. So
Yes.
we've got, while we continue to kind of spy on the rest of these skates, that was a triple Lutz triple toe from Isabelle. We've got pairs practice coming up at 5:30 Eastern time. We'll take a little bit of a break with the ice cut. Polina will get back into the warmth. And there's also women's practice later today that will be streamed on Peacock as well. Alas, no commentary from us, but you can watch it and enjoy it in silence.
Not as fun as me and Jackie, but
Haircutters, you know,
Anna Bowers,
leg
spirals,
warmers, all of the things.
outside edge Let's takeoffs, all the things that matter.
Yeah, exactly. So tomorrow's really the first big day. We've got pair short program at 2 p.m. Eastern, the rhythm dance at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and then the women's short program at 7:15 Eastern. So it's going to be a packed day as we come back to the two of us, because, you know, there's skating out there, but you're going to watch two of us. But thank you, Polina. Thank you for joining me for 2 hours talking about lots of things.
The best 2 hours ever.
Very exciting.
Nationals, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Our 10-year anniversary.
Our 10-year anniversary. First time I met Polina. Actually, that was not the first time I met you. We can talk about that another time.
I'm curious.
San Jose, at the rink. You didn't know me because you were like 4 years old.
No way.
Yeah, for sure. I was in college. That's how old.
That's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are now.
Here we are now with our 10-year anniversaries. All right. Again, Polina, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed all of this that we have been doing for you, and I'm going to shut off my computer. But seriously, let us know how we did. Let us know what you want to hear in the future. We got 3 more of these. Got Tim Gable coming up. We've got a couple other surprise guests coming up later in the week. So there's more to come with all of this coverage. And so honored that you all have tuned in to listen to us talk about figure skating. And I guess we'll see you later.
Say hi to us if you're at the rink.
Exactly.
Competitors, there's approximately 1 minute remaining in this practice. Competitors, this practice session is concluded. We will now have a break while the ice is resurfaced, and we'll return with championship pairs.